Hi-ho, do you know the names of the U.S. residents who then became the presidents and got a view from the White House?
Not all of the presidents lived in the White House. George Washington oversaw its construction, but John Adams was the first person to move in, at which point it wasn't even complete.
Pennsylvania Avenue. George Washington was the first to see one cut down a cherry tree.
This story is a well-known fable, but there's no record of it actually happening.
President number 2 would be John Adams, and then number 3, Jefferson stayed up to write the Declaration late at night.
Thomas Jefferson was not the sole writer of the Declaration of Independence. He did write the first draft, but it was amended by John Adams and Benjamin Franklin. Also, the Declaration of Independence was ratified 25 years before Jefferson took office.
So he and his wife had a great big fight, and she made him sleep on the couch all night.
This may be a funny image, but in actuality, this most likely didn't happen. In fact, around that time, Jefferson's wife was severely ill after miscarrying.
Aww.
Son.
True, he never had a son of his own, but he did gain one through marriage.
James Monroe's colossal nose was bigger than Pinocchio. John Quincy Adams was number 6, and it's Andrew Jackson's butt he kicks, so Jackson learns to play politics. Next time, he's the one that the country picks.
That's not quite how it happened.
Close enough.
Andrew Jackson actually got more votes than John Quincy Adams in the 1824 elections, but neither of them gained a majority, so the president was picked by the House of Representatives, and controversially, they picked John Quincy Adams. This is actually the only time this has happened since the passage of the 12th Amendment, as well as the only time that the who became president did not have the most electoral votes.
Martin Van Buren, number 8 for a one-term shot as chief of state. William Harrison, how do you praise? That guy was dead in 30 days. John Tyler, he liked country folk. And after him came President Polk. Zachary Taylor liked to smoke. His breath killed friends whenever he spoke.
Not only could I not find evidence backing up this claim, I also couldn't find evidence backing up this reputation at all. Most of what I found on Zachary Taylor didn't even mention his smoking habits.
1850, really nifty, Millard Fillmore's in.
Millard Fillmore is generally considered to be one of the worst presidents in United States history, so very few historians would describe him as nifty.
Young and fierce was Franklin Pierce.
Franklin Pierce was only really young by presidential standards, being inaugurated at age 49.
The man without a chin. Follows next up, period spanning 4 long years with James Buchanan. Then the South starts shooting cannon.
But those cannons were not aimed at James Buchanan, who left office a month before the Civil War began.
Wow. That's risky.
Our war down south of Dixie. Up to that comes old Abe Lincoln. There's a guy who's really thinking. Kept the United States from shrinking, saved the ship of state from sinking.
If this is meant to represent states, it'd be wrong. The Confederacy only ever held 11 states, so I guess they did the scores like this to make it seem closer. Which, by the way, it wasn't, because the Union held 23 states. One final note, 16 plus 15 equals 31. In 1861, there were 34 states across the Union and the Confederacy, and during the war, that number grew to 36 as West Virginia and Nevada were admitted to the Union.
Wow, I didn't know that. I mean, I did, but it's been years since I did learn about history. So it's been a while. About 10 years, over 10 years. Been about 15 years.
The S in Ulysses S. Grant's name did not stand for Simpson. In fact, it didn't stand for anything. He just put it in there to make it seem more distinguished. Ulysses was, in fact, his original middle name. His birth name was Hiram.
Hiram Grant.
Ulysses Grant's reputation as a heavy drinker is not well-founded. The general consensus of historians is that Grant actually didn't drink that much, so given the song's context, Wacko probably made that up.
Most
It's
likely.
1877 and the Democrats would gloat, but they're all amazed when Rutherford Hayes wins by just 1 vote. James Garfield someone really hated cause he was assassinated. Chester all but gets instated. 4 years later he was traded. Lord Grover Cleveland really that elected twice as a Democrat. Then Benjamin Harrison after that. It's William McKinley at the back.
This sequence of events isn't quite correct. Grover Cleveland was elected twice, but non-consecutively, his second term following Benjamin Harrison's. Cleveland is actually the only president thus far to do so.
Teddy Roosevelt charged up San Juan Hill.
That means he's president. They're not president. The president. So what they mean is that he was president first. The next election he tried to be president again, but so took to be president. And then the year after that, he became president again. That's how it happened. That has never actually happened before. Usually, when presidents run, most presidents to our records that I know of have run 2 terms at one time, 2 terms in a row. This guy did term, took a break, then did another term. So that's different, though.
That was 2 years before he became president.
President tapped, he got the bill. In 1913, Woodrow Wilson takes us into World War I.
World War I didn't actually begin until 1914, and America didn't
Wow.
head to enter it until 1917. The United States did not take part in the Battle of Gallipoli.
I don't know what that is. Or
the
that.
Battle of the Somme. Or the Battle of Verdun.
Never heard
In
of these.
fact, with the sole exception of the Meuse-Argonne offensive, which the US did take part in, these battles all took place before the United States even entered into the war. Incidentally, they are also not in chronological order. The Meuse-Argonne offensive took place from the 26th of September to the 11th of November 1918, whereas Gallipoli took place between the 19th of February 1915 and the 9th of January 1916. The Somme was between the 1st of July and the 18th of November 1916, and Verdun was the 21st of February to the 18th of December 1916.
Warren Harding next in line. It's Calvin Coolidge, he does fine.
Calvin Coolidge didn't exactly do fine. The consensus seems to be that he did kind of meh.
And then in 1929,
Stock crash. Stock market. Great Depression.
First big debut.
Herbert Hoover's term began before the 1929 market crash.
He gets the
Okay.
blame and loses too. Franklin Roosevelt, president who helped us win in World War II.
Bomb
Hitler's
Hitler.
Germany was not the only enemy in World War II.
About
The
Hitler and
United
Japan.
States also declared war on Japan 3 days before they declared war on Germany, and Japan surrendered after Germany did.
Harry Truman, weird little human, serves 2 terms in when he's done. It's Eisenhower who's got the power from 53 to 61. John Kennedy had Camelot, then Lyndon Johnson took his spot. Richard Nixon, he gets caught, and Gerald Ford fell down.
Our president from
This
Michigan.
only happened once, allegedly due to a knee injury.
That's wrong. It happened twice. Gerald Ford did find out. Actually, did you know Ford actually found out that? Actually, he found out. Actually, one time it was called Cape, and actually, it happened actually twice. According to our records, it actually happened 2 times. Okay, one time on camera, one time not on camera. If you live in Michigan, you kind of know about that, but they don't know it. So everyone just back to Eisenhower. So go back to where we're at.
From 53 to 61. John Kennedy had Camelot, then Lyndon Johnson took his spot. Richard Nixon, he gets caught, and Gerald Ford fell down a lot.
So I found out
This
twice.
only happened once, allegedly due to a knee injury.
Jimmy Carter like camping trips. And Ronald Reagan speeches.
Carter's not currently the
Something
oldest
famous
president right now
movie.
living.
That's a slightly ham-fisted way of saying that Ronald Reagan used to be an actor. Not to mention that by the time of his presidency, he hadn't actually been in any films for nearly 20 years.
Wow.
President Bush said, read my lips. Now in Washington, D.C. There's Democrats and the GOP. But the ones in charge are plain to see. The Clintons, Bill and Hillary. The next president to lead the way. Well, it just might be yourself one day. Then the press will distort everything you say. So jump in your plane and fly away.
Since this song airing, these people have been elected president. George W. Bush in 2001, Barack Obama in 2008, and Donald Trump in 2016. Also in
Make America
2002
great
and
again.
2007, the 25th Amendment was invoked, meaning that George Bush's Vice President Dick Cheney acted as president in those 2 years for a grand total of 4 hours and 20 minutes. If you
Wow.
enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and watching my other videos, since I put a lot more effort into those than ones like this. I am also taking suggestions for future episodes of all the inaccuracies, so feel free to comment down below with your ideas. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Ta-ta!
Your childhood bed is a Pikachu bed.
Coincidence. I've never been so flattered and creeped out at the same time.
A man without a chin follows next up.
Nothing. 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 Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Nations of the world. Okay, now part 2 of this video I want to show you the incorrections of something else. Then after this, we're done for the day. So this is a 15-minute. We're almost done for today's video for the day. But we're still gonna be. I mean, I'll tell you when I'm done, but we got a couple minutes left. So I'll just over the have to do that. That's not thunder. That's that. So you know, that's the Grand Trunk train line. That's not thunder. That's the Grand Trunk train line. As you hear from the horn. So yeah, that's like the night. That's the night train. So this video's over with. I'm gonna be going to bed, but we'll be on for a little bit right now before I do. So basically, since you went until later on today, so let's watch this. Then we're done today. Well, this video was made in 1993, so this video may be a little outdated because the video was made in 1993. So now let's go to 1993. Babylonian inner slacks and we're maniacs. What we got, okay? I may have replaced it, so don't worry. I'll do it when I'll do it tomorrow with you.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic, Dominican,
But well, I can't do it because
The Caribbean is not a nation.
I don't know
It's a region that approximately comprises the nations within the Caribbean.
actually I don't know where the video went, but right now it's getting late, so I'll be doing this video. Then I'm gonna be out like sleep. No, let's start today's video. Which one?
Now, the nations of the world, brought to you by Yakko Warner.
Let's place the video.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic, Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean.
The Caribbean is not a nation. It's a region that approximately comprises the nations within the Caribbean Sea, as well as a few within the North Atlantic. The list's too long to mention here. Greenland is not a nation in its own right. It's been a constituent country of the Kingdom of Denmark since 1814, when it was handed over to Denmark by Norway, and became fully integrated into Denmark in 1953.
El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico has been an unincorporated territory of the United States since the end of the Spanish-American War in 1898, and since 1917, all Puerto Rican citizens have had United States citizenship.
Wow.
There has been a referendum to make Puerto Rico a state of America, but as of yet, it hasn't been successful.
Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and
It's also Cuba.
Guatemala, Bolivia,
Yeah, Cuba's probably the US,
Denmark,
that was
Chile,
fucking
Brazil,
hilarious.
Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Bermuda.
Bermuda was settled by the English in 1607 and became a crown colony, now referred to as British Overseas Territories, in 1684. An independence referendum was held in 1995, but 74% of Bermudians voted against independence.
Bahamas.
The name of this nation is technically the Bahamas. It's actually one of only 2 nations that requires the indefinite article in its name. Tobago is one of the islands making up the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. It is also the smaller of the two in both size and population.
Wow.
A population of about 60,000 to Trinidad's approximate 1.2 million, and an area of about 116 square miles to Trinidad's 689.
San Juan,
San Juan is the capital city of Puerto Rico.
Paraguay, Uruguay, Suriname, and French Guiana.
French Guiana is a département d'outre-mer, or overseas
Oh, is it French,
department of France, and thus is considered to be wholly part of France, hence the name French Guiana, and it's been one since 1948.
Barbados and Guam.
Guam is also an unincorporated territory of the United States, handed over at around the same time as Puerto Rico.
So the Spanish-American War.
And Iceland and Finland and Germany now one piece.
When this song first aired on September 14th, 1993, Germany had been in one piece, and yes, that is what Yakko said I checked, for nearly 3 whole years, having reunified on October the 3rd, 1990.
Switzerland, Austria, Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia divided into the Czech Republic, also known since 2016 as Czechia, and Slovakia on the 1st of January 1993. This song first aired about 9 months later.
Italy, Turkey, and Greece. Poland, Romania, Scotland.
Scotland is not a nation in its own right. It's
Okay.
a constituent country of the United
United
Kingdom,
Kingdom.
alongside Wales, England, and Northern Ireland, having been so since the passage of the Acts of Union in 1707. A
Wow.
referendum for Scottish independence failed in 2014.
Albania, Ireland, Russia.
What Yakko appears to be doing here is
The
using the
USSR,
word Russia to refer
Russia.
to the Soviet Union, which dissolved on Boxing Day 1990, and many of whose former members now make up the Commonwealth of Independent States.
Oman.
Boxing Day is
Saudi
July
Arabia,
26th,
Hungary, Cyprus,
December
Iran,
26th.
There's Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, both Yemen.
Yemen reunified on the 22nd of May 1990, 3 years before this song came out and a good 4 months before Germany did. Worth mentioning as well, when Yemen reunified, the modern Republic of Yemen was not considered to be a successor to either of the previous Yemens, those being the Yemen Arab Republic and the People's Democratic Republic of Yemen. Therefore, technically speaking, this also makes this an omission, since Yako mentioned both Yemens, i.e. the previous Yemens, but not the present state currently known as Yemen.
Kuwait and Bahrain, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Portugal, France, England.
As before stated,
England.
England is not a nation in its own right, but a constituent country of the United Kingdom as per the Acts of Union. Also, judging by what's lighting up on the map here, Yako appears to be committing the classic faux pas of referring to the entirety of Great Britain as just England. This is incorrect, as the island of Great Britain also has Scotland and Wales on it.
Denmark and Spain. India, Pakistan, Burma.
I'm going to retract a statement
Burma.
from the previous version of this video and say that this isn't an inaccuracy. While it's technically been named Myanmar since 1981,
Myanmar, Burma,
many
same
countries
thing.
still refer to it as Burma officially, but the main reason I'm retracting the
Burma.
island of Great Britain also has Scotland and Wales on
Or
it.
maybe, what's how you pronounce it? Is it pronounced Myanmar or Burma? I call it Burma.
India, Pakistan, Burma.
I'm going to
Burma.
retract a statement from the previous version of this video and say that this isn't an inaccuracy. While it's technically been named Myanmar since 1989, many countries still refer to it as Burma officially. But the main reason I'm retracting this one is because its president, Aung San Suu Kyi, stated in 2016 that diplomats are free to use either name, because there isn't anything in its constitution that dictates what it should be called.
Afghanistan, Thailand, Nepal, and Bhutan. Cambodia.
Kampuchea is the name given to Cambodia between 1975 and 1989. The name was changed in 1975 by the Khmer Rouge regime following the Cambodian Civil War and was changed back to Cambodia in May of 1989 to avoid association with that regime.
Malaysia, then Bangladesh, Asia.
Asia is a continent upon which several nations reside.
And China, Korea.
Korea has been divided between the Republic of Korea or South Korea and the
Since
Democratic
World War
People's
II.
Republic of Korea or North Korea since the end of the Second World War.
This is
Neither
the
state
USSR.
recognizes the other and both claim the entire Korean peninsula, but at the UN level they are considered separate nations, both of which light up on the map, so Yako is erroneously referring to both of them jointly as just Korea.
Japan, Mongolia, Laos, and Tibet.
The People's Republic of China gained control of Tibet in 1951 and operated as an autonomous region. However, there is a long-standing movement for Tibet's independence.
Indonesia, the Philippine Islands.
The Philippine Islands is a correct way of referring to the islands themselves, but it's
like
not the name
like-
of the nation, which is simply called the Republic of the Philippines.
Taiwan.
The Republic of China, commonly known as Taiwan, has not been an official nation since the Second World War. It and the People's Republic of China both claim to be the sole legitimate government of China, though the PRC is the one that is widely considered to be so. While the Republic of China has de facto independence, its own currency and government, it has very limited recognition. It is not a member of the United Nations, and relations with other countries are on a strictly informal basis.
Sri Lanka, New Guinea.
The nation Yako is pointing to here is called Papua New Guinea. New Guinea is the name of the island
Close
on which it resides. Furthermore, as you can see from the map, Papua New Guinea only takes up half of the island of New Guinea, the other half being part of Indonesia.
Sumatra.
Sumatra is also part of Indonesia and has been since 1950.
Wow.
New Zealand, and Borneo.
Borneo is the largest island in Asia, but is not a nation in
Wow.
itself. In fact, it plays host to 3 nations, with the majority of the island being part of Indonesia and Malaysia controlling most of the northern area of the island, save for a small part which makes up the nation of Brunei.
Oh, and Vietnam, Tunisia, Morocco, Uganda, Angola, Zimbabwe, Djibouti, Botswana, Mozambique, Zambia, Swaziland.
Swaziland is now known as Eswatini as of April 2018.
Gambia.
This is the other nation that requires the indefinite article. The Gambia was named as such when it was first discovered by the Portuguese because it follows the River Gambia, and it was confirmed that the indefinite article would remain when the country gained independence in 1965 to avoid confusion with Zambia, which had also become independent around the same time.
Guinea, Algeria, Ghana. Vanilla, Soto, and Malawi, Togo, the Spanish Sahara is gone.
The Spanish Sahara ceased to exist in 1975, nearly 18 years before this song came out, thus making it non-topical. The territory is now known as Western Sahara and is disputed territory between the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic and Morocco, the latter of whom annexed most of the territory. No other country has officially recognized Morocco's sovereignty over the annexed territories, and the UN considers the Polisario Front of the Sahrawi Republic to be the legitimate representation of the Sahrawi people.
Niger, Nigeria, Chad, Trinidad and Liberia, Egypt, Benin and Gabon, Tanzania, Somalia, Kenya and Mali, Sierra Leone and Algiers.
Algiers is the capital city of Algeria. Dahomey is the name of a former kingdom which was located in the southern part of modern-day Benin between 1600 and 1904. The entire country now known as Benin became French Dahomey in 1904, then gained independence as the Republic of Dahomey in 1958, before becoming Benin in 1975.
Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Congo, Zaire.
Zaire became the Democratic Republic of the Congo in 1997.
Wow.
Guinea, Bissau, Madagascar, Rwanda, Mayotte.
Mayotte, more commonly known as Mayotte, was at the time of broadcast a French overseas collective. It is now, as of 2009, an overseas department of France like French Guiana. Technically, it's the Cayman Islands, and they're also not a nation. In 1670, England took formal control of the islands, and they were governed as part of Jamaica. When Jamaica gained independence, the Cayman Islands became a separate crown colony, and now they're a British overseas territory. At the time of the song's release, Hong Kong was a British dependent territory, having been under their control since the mid-19th century. Hong Kong was later handed back over to China in 1997, and since then it has been a special administrative region of China. Abu Dhabi is one of the 7 United Arab Emirates, and it has been since the formation of the UAE
Dubai.
in 1971. To Yako's credit, though, Abu Dhabi is the largest of the Emirates, and it's also the seat of its capital, also called Abu Dhabi.
Qatar, Yugoslavia.
At the time of this song airing, Yugoslavia, as Yako refers to it here, had dissolved, but Serbia and Montenegro had formed a union as the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, which in 2003 changed its name to the Union of Serbia and Montenegro. Montenegro then gained independence, with Serbia succeeding the union. Crete is an island belonging to Greece, having been so since 1913.
Mauritania, then Transylvania.
Transylvania has been a region of Romania since 1918.
Monaco, Liechtenstein, Malta, and Palestine.
Whilst this was an error at the time of the song's release, it has quite bizarrely become retroactively accurate. At the time of the song's release, Palestine was not recognised as a state, but it is now recognised by 139 UN member states, and in 2012 it became a non-member observer state of the UN.
Fiji, Australia, Sudan.
This is not an inaccuracy, because Sudan did not divide. South Sudan gained independence from Sudan in 2011. And now for the additional verse, courtesy of Rob Paulson and the Fine Brothers.
And it goes like this. Montenegro and Bosnia-Herzegovina.
I'm letting this one slide by a hair's breadth. Technically, Bosnia and Herzegovina is one nation, but since he's put them next to each other, I'm selectively interpreting it as if he simply omitted the and intends to count them as one unit.
The Soviet Union is gone.
This video was uploaded at the beginning of October 2018, and the Soviet Union dissolved 28 years prior to that, so this is non-topical.
South Africa, Georgia, Moldova.
Is another word for Moldavia, a historical region that joined with Malaysia to form Romania. It is also apparently another word for Moldova, though I have found very little mention of it as such outside of dictionaries.
Latvia, Belarus, Azerbaijan. Uzbekistan, hey. Kazakhstan, hey. Then there's Tajikistan too, hey. Turkmenistan, hey. Kurdistan.
Is a historical region in a location now taken up by bits of Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. There is also an autonomous region of Iraq called Kurdistan, but as I just said, it's an autonomous region of Iraq, not a nation by this video's definition.
Armenia, Congo, Palau, Lithuania, Serbia, Kosovo.
Despite having declared its independence in 2008, Kosovo has only been recognized by just over half the member states of the United Nations, some of whom have also revoked their recognition. Most notably, it is not recognized by Serbia, from whom Kosovo claims to have gained independence.
The US Samoa.
Is an incorrect name for American Samoa, which is a territory of the United States, hence the name.
The Balkans.
Is a region comprising a variable number of southeastern European nations, depending on one's definition of it.
Brunei, Macau.
Is a special administrative region of China.
And Crimea.
Is a peninsula, and while the country that it's part of differs depending on your allegiances, one thing it is not is a nation in its own right.
Then Eritrea. Ukraine and Estonia. Here's Macedonia, New Caledonia.
Is a special collectivity of France.
Eastern Slavonia.
Is part of a historical region of Croatia.
Ivory Coast and Cape Verde, Andorra, the Solomon Islands.
Is one of the United Arab Emirates. And finally, here's all the nations that weren't mentioned. Now, I think...
Want to find out what kind of DIY projects people are taking on and what they leave to the pros. Oh my.
Mom says you.
know what this is. So you see what this is. Then we're going to bed.
Mom says get dressed.
For what?
The new neighbor's coming over for dinner.
I know. What if he's weird?
What if he's Hitler? What if he's literally Hitler and tries to kill us?
Don't laugh at his accent.
I won't.
Where's your brother?
Up. Getting dressed. Aw, you look so handsy, boy. Doesn't he look handsy, boy?
He always looks handsy, boy.
Not always.
He's here.
Oh.
Hello.
No. I am not finishing that because one reason. Since we're done with that, since we're done watching that garbage, I'm now. Oh, wow, it's late, so I have to go. Night. Good night, everyone. I'm going off now. So good night.